Hey everybody, welcome back. It is day 119 as a beekeeper. All right, so let's get into the actual treatment itself using the quick strips. There are some very specific instructions that you should read, and there's a great video on how to use them on the website of the quick strips. I will link it below. So after you read your instructions, the main things you have to keep in mind are proper ventilation, which is your front entrance has to be all the way open. Your bottom board actually has to be all the way closed. So you have to put that bottom board slider, if you have one in the back, all the way in the top position, because the formic acid sinks. It's heavier than air, and it will go right out of your hive if you don't have that bottom board up high. So you have to close off the bottom, but leave the front entrance wide open. I'm also going to move my supers back just a little bit to give a little more ventilation for the hive. The other thing you have to keep in mind is the temperature window, which I am safe in right now. We are in the 70s to 80 degrees right now for this week, so my bees are going to be okay. Also, you cannot be feeding your bees during treatment, so I'm going to take my feeder off. The other great thing about the quick strips is you can leave honey supers on, because this doesn't get into the honey. So it's okay to leave your supers on. It's another thing you have to do with oxalic acid, is you can't treat with honey in the hive. With the quick strips you can treat with honey in the hive. So my honey is fine. So the other thing we have to keep in mind is to try and disturb the bees as little as possible. So I'm not going to be doing an inspection or removing any frames today. All I'm going to do is take off the super, the top brood box. I'm going to place the quick strips on the bottom brood box, put the top brood box on top of that, then the top super. I'm going to offset them just a little bit to give ventilation, and then I'm going to button everything back up. I'm also not going to be talking during this because I will be wearing a respirator and gloves and goggles, and all recommended by the company. So it's my first time, I'm just going to go with it. All right, so let's get started. All right, so as you can see, I put both strips on the bottom brood box. I have two brood boxes. I put both of them on the bottom box. I also, when I put this back together, I put the second brood box about maybe 5/8 of an inch in to leave a little more space for ventilation here. I'm probably going to come out tomorrow and put a little piece of plastic on here, something like that, just to shed water if it does rain, because I don't want rain getting inside the hive. So I'm probably going to put a little something here to make a little awning for them. But I do want them to have ventilation. I also have the bottom completely open. There's no entrance reducer on the hive. It's all the way open. And the bottom inspection board underneath the screen bottom board is all the way in the top position. So they're getting ventilation here, they're getting ventilation here, and then up here, this is also open up here, so this is air up here too. This is sealed off with a screen in the back, so air can get in here, but there aren't going to be any robbing bees coming in the back. Alright, so that's my treatment. That's what I decided, and it only took like 2 or 3 minutes to do. So, not a big deal. Hopefully this is what the bees need. I'm doing my best here. My wish is to not have to treat the bees. My wish is to not have Varroa, not have to deal with these problems. But my goal is for these bees to survive. I want them to make it through the winter. So I need to give them the best chance they can. That's my logic, that's my thinking. A lot of reading and research went into this decision, and this is what I decided to go with. So I will be reporting back here in 7 days to remove the strips and to take a look, and hopefully my bees are still thriving, alive, happy, and I don't think we're going to have any trouble with temperature because it's definitely going to be a cooler week. And I'm also going to check that bottom inspection board and see if there are mites on that board and what's fallen off from the bees. So thank you very much for all of your advice and all your opinions. I do read everything, and I weigh all of the opinions, and I weigh all of the options. And I'm sorry if I didn't go with your decision or your treatment option or your non-treatment option, but this is what I went with. My goal is happy, living, breathing bees. And I know that if I didn't do anything, my bees would not be living in the springtime. I know what the winters are like here, and I know what Varroa can do to a hive. So the decision was to give them a chance to treat this specific hive in this specific climate under these conditions, and this was my choice. Thanks for all your input and your feedback, and this is what worked for me. I hope it works for the bees, and we're going to see that when I open up the hive in about 7 days and check on things. But yeah, thanks for watching. You guys have a great night and a great fall, and happy beekeeping wherever you may be. Be. All right, this is day 1. I put the strips on last night, about 7 o'clock. They've been on for about 20 hours. We got a lot of bearding outside. So that's the entrance to the hive right now. They're really fanning a lot, ventilating the hive. Look at that. That's a dead mite. And that's a dead mite. So I set back the hive about 3/4 of an inch for ventilation and for the bees to get in and out. And I almost went to bed last night without making this little cover. But I thought, well, I'll just go put it on. It won't take long. And it took me 5 minutes to put that on. So this morning we had a very severe thunderstorm pass through. And just the most rain I've seen all summer. Just all fell in about half an hour. And I'm really glad that I put that on last night, because that would have just drenched the inside of the hive. So, good thing I did that. It's all still there. I just taped it on. So, good news. That is a dead mite. Awesome. All right, that is the day one update.